Hello everyone and welcome back to Zen Zone Yoga. Today we are going to be doing a beginner class based around pigeon pose. So pigeon pose looks like this. And of course everything we do on one side we have to do on the other side to create balance. So to transition from one side to the other, we'll go into downward facing dog. And that is pigeon pose. So you will need a block for this class. So grab a block or a coffee mug or a book, anything that will be about this height standing up. Once you are ready, come with me to your mat into a comfortable seated position. Go ahead and rest your palms on your knees and close your eyes. Deep breaths. Today we are doing a hip opening posture, which we tend to store a lot of emotion in our pelvic region because that is where the root chakra lies. So when we do hip opening postures like pigeon pose, sometimes it can bring up emotions that we've been holding on to, things of that nature. So as we're sitting here with our eyes closed, just think to yourself that it's okay. It's okay to let go. It is okay to let these feelings out. If you do release emotion during that time, it is actually a positive thing because now you're able to let go and move on with your day a little bit brighter. When you're ready, gently open your eyes, and we're going to sit facing the front of the mat in Baddha Konasana or bound angle pose. So bring your feet together. You can be out here or as close to your pelvis as you can get them, and hold on to your feet. Sit up straight and tall. Breathe in and out. One more time, in and out. Now put your feet forward and we're going to do a seated spinal twist. So pick up your right leg, plant your right foot outside of your left knee, hook your left elbow on the outside of your right knee and twist and breathe. Come back to center. We'll do the other side. So left foot outside of the right knee, huck your right elbow outside of your left knee and breathe. From here, we're going to go into a tabletop position. So come to all fours. Knees under your hips, hands under your shoulders. We'll do some cat-cow. So breathe in, cow pose. Drop your belly down to the mat. Raise your chin up in the air. Breathe out, cat pose. Drop your chin down and raise your spine up. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. One more time. Inhale. And exhale. Now from here, we're going to come onto our bellies into a Sphinx pose. So engage through your legs. Don't let your legs just fall onto the mat, and come up to your forearms for Sphinx. Now plant your palms down and come up to a cobra. From here, come back up to a tabletop. We're going to spin our right leg out like a kickstand. Extend your left leg out straight over to the side. Pick up your left hand and put it over your head. This is a variation on extended side angle. Really lengthen through that side body. Lengthen all the way from your toes to your fingertips. Then we're going to repeat on the other side. So come back into a tabletop position. Swivel your left leg out like a kickstand. Extend your right foot. Reach up overhead with your right hand. Extending all the way from your toes to your fingertips. Variation of extended side angle. And come back to tabletop position. Now we're going to bring our hands a little bit forward and our knees back a little bit. And tuck your toes and push your hips up and back into downward facing dog. Now look forward and walk to the front of your mat. Land in Uttanasana, forward fold. Now come up to stand in Tadasana, mountain pose, rooting down through all the corners of your feet. Now reach all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana, and drop all the way back down into Uttanasana, forward fold. Now come up to your fingertips halfway and step back with your right foot down into downward facing dog. Breathe out. Breathe in, roll your body forward to a high plank. Breathe out, drop your body down all the way to the mat in a controlled motion, controlled straight line. Untuck your toes, breathe in, push up with your hands for cobra. Tuck your toes, bring your hips up and back into downward facing dog and breathe out. Look forward and walk to the front of your mat, land in Uttanasana. Breathe out. Breathe in, arms all the way up to Urdhva Hastasana. Breathe out, back down to Uttanasana, forward fold. Breathe in, halfway. Breathe out, step back with your left foot into downward facing dog. Breathe in, roll forward to plank. Breathe out, down all the way to the mat. Breathe in, push up into cobra pose. Breathe out, tuck your toes, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Now kick your right foot up in the air into three-legged dog. And we're going to roll forward into a plank and bring our knee to our chest. Then kick your leg back up into three-legged dog and come down into downward facing dog. Now we're going to do the same thing on the left side. So kick your left leg up and back into three-legged dog. Roll forward and bring your knee into your chest in plank position. Then kick your leg back up into three-legged dog and come back down, downward facing dog. All right, now we're going to add to that a little bit. So right leg, three-legged dog. Forward into high plank, knee to chest. Now step forward between your feet, between your hands with your foot. Drop your knee down and untuck your toes for a crescent lunge. Now you can either keep your hands on the mat or put them on your knee. And we're going to tuck our back toes and pop that knee up into a high lunge. You can leave your hands on your knee or you can bring them up into the air for a high lunge. We're looking for length through our back legs here. Now put your hands down around your front foot and step back into downward facing dog. Now kick your left leg up, three-legged dog. Bring your knee forward in a plank position. Drop that foot between your hands. Drop your knee, untuck your toes, crescent lunge. Now tuck your toe, lift up that knee, high lunge. Put your hands down around your left foot and step back into a downward facing dog. We're gonna do all of that over again. We're gonna add to it this time. So right foot up, three-legged dog. Knee to chest and plank. Drop that foot down. Come into a crescent lunge. A bug just fell in my shirt. Tuck your toes and bring your knee up for a high lunge. Now pivot your back foot, plant your foot on the mat so that it's parallel with the back of your mat, and bring your palms together for warrior one. Now, lace your fingers behind your back and extend your arms and lean forward next to your right knee for our humble warrior. Come back up to warrior one. Plant your hands around your front foot and step back into downward facing dog. And breathe here for a minute. Catch your breath. Recenter yourself. Now kick your left leg up and back into three-legged dog. Bring your knee to your chest in a plank position. And drop your foot to the mat between your hands. Land on your knee, untuck your toes, crescent lunge. Now, tuck your toes, lift up that knee for a high lunge. Plant your back foot parallel with the back of your mat. Put your hands together in prayer for warrior one. Now interlace your fingers behind your back. Try to do the opposite interlacing that you did last time. Straighten your arms and lean forward for a humble warrior. Come back up, put your arms back over your head for warrior one. And plant your hands around your front foot and go up and back into downward facing dog. And breathe. From here, we're going to go into our pigeon pose. So come forward into a high plank. Bring your left foot behind your right hand. Your right foot behind your left hand and your knee behind your right hand. So you're wanting your leg to be parallel with the front of your mat as much as possible. And you kind of land on top of the foot and on top of the shin. Then untuck your left toes, come down onto your leg, and sit on your hip. If you need to, this is where a block can come in really handy. And tuck that block underneath your hip to get better alignment. If it feels better too, you can put the block under your hands to push up into pigeon pose. Or if you're fine on the mat, just come on up to a pigeon pose. And just stay here and breathe for a minute. Now tuck your left toes, come up and back into a downward facing dog. Now come forward into plank and bring your left foot behind your hands, dropping onto the front, the top of the foot and shin. And drop your right leg down. Come into a pigeon pose. Try to keep the back leg straight behind you. Now tuck your right toes and step back into downward facing dog. We're going to come onto our knees, wide legs, big toes together, and sit back over your heels for child's pose. Go ahead and rest your forehead on the mat. Now come to your backs. Lay down on the mat and bring your knees into your chest. Hold on to them and just rock back and forth, giving a little lumbar spine massage. Now we're going to come into happy baby. So spread your knees apart, reach your hands between your legs, grab the outsides of your feet, and relax into happy baby. This also feels good if you just wiggle back and forth. Feels really good on the spine. Or you can come into stillness and just breathe in this position. And now bring your legs down one at a time, coming into Shavasana, laying still with your palms facing up. Close your eyes if you haven't already. And thank yourself for letting out whatever emotions came forward during this practice, for allowing yourself to be here today. And breathe. We're going to come into a moment of silence. Just reflect on any emotions that came up and how much better you feel now that they're gone. When you're ready, bring awareness back into your physical body by wiggling your fingers and toes. Bring your arms up over your head, knees up, and roll over to one side, keeping your eyes closed. Come up to a comfortable seated position on your mat. Put your hands in Anjali Mudra, the mudra of gratitude, in front of your heart. And bow your head down to your heart as well, thanking yourself for coming to this practice today, sealing in your practice. Now gently open your eyes. Thank you so much for joining me today here at Zen Zone Yoga. I really appreciate it, and I see all of your love and light. Namaste.